the voices of many tongues. I'm Shane.
I'm Aita.
And I'm Windsor, and we are the three English language teachers. And now we're talking closest to our heart, which is the multilingualism in the classroom.
Right. Philippines is one of the most linguistically diverse countries. So it makes sense to us what impact does that have on how we teach or how we learn.
This will be interesting one. Let's start by understanding what multilingualism really means in our context.
So it was really interesting to understand the multilingualism because now, of course, we are English major, so it is really important for us to speak the language. But sometimes there are some words that it's not that easy to understand. So I think it is really important to be a multilingual classrooms. It is really important because our learnings, well, what do you call that? Yes, the way we learn, it will depend on how the language is used. Because if they're using the language that it was hard for us to understand, then we'll never learn some.
Yes, I do agree with that. And also, using multilingualism preserves our culture and identity.
Yes.
And as for the students who are IP people and who have their own culture, they can preserve it by just using their own local languages.
Yes, and it will,
Yes, that's correct.
ano,
Yeah, it could help us to better understand what really means in our discussion, especially when we're going to use our mother tongue. Of course, in translanguaging, it could help us to to what we call this one.
Translate.
Translating to from our mother tongue to English, it could be more understandable. Yeah.
yeah, especially when our instructor use the Bisaya language, it's easy for us to understand. Oh, ingana ra pa sa ma'am. Then, but if they use that kanang what we call lalong na English, it was hard for us to understand what they're saying, what they really mean for us to know.
It did us like this,
Like, huh?
like huh?
Yeah, so it is really important. So it was very interesting topic to talk about.
Yes, that's it enough.
So when you say multilingualism, these are the people or the individuals who are using languages in just one discussion. It could be one, two, or three languages, three or more. So over 180 languages in the Philippines. Some students are using it, and when you move to one town to another, you can see that you can really see that there is a different languages just by moving from town to town.
Especially us here in Agusan. If we travel we go to Surigao, even though they speak the Bisaya, but the Bisaya is different. They have
Their
that.
own version.
Yeah, they have their own version.
One.
Yeah,
The way
but
how they speak. The way how they speak.
yes, like we ask
The
ourselves.
accent, the sound.
Yes,
Yes,
like
that's
we
correct.
ask ourselves, they are Bisaya, but they have different the way they pronounce the word. I mean, the word, the way they have different like pronunciation.
Structure of the word.
Yeah, so it's really the Philippines is really diverse when it comes to language. And according to the 1987 Constitution, Filipino and English are our official language. But local and regional languages can be used in schools. So technically, our system support multilingualism.
But the problem is, in practice, still tends to focus on English and Filipino. Local languages get pushed aside even though most students understand best in their mother tongue.
So think about it. Many high schools, well, of course, we what we call that? We used to in our high school. So, diba, if we look at our subject now, the dominant language that they use is the English language.
Yes, that's just like hopping.
Yes.
It happened also to
And it didn't include
Science.
our mother tongue.
And only two Filipino language that we have here, only the Filipino and Arabic.
Yeah, so and it doesn't include the other languages.
Yes.
It only focuses on the two. So that's some things also I see as a problem.
And let's say that is true. So multilingualism is there, but it's part of who we are. But not every classroom or every area of school takes it as an advantage.
That's where the conversation starts. How do we make multilingualism a strength instead of a challenge?
Our language policy has changed a lot through time. During Spanish through classes were in Spanish. Even right now, we have still Spanish subject. Not every in school, but in Central High School, they have they have also Spanish classes.
The other parts of the Mindanao, they have Spanish, but it somehow mixed with the different language also here in the Philippines.
And we have also here in Chabacano.
Yeah, they're using the Spanish.
Yes, but not really Spanish,
Yeah.
but
Just
attached.
like, oh yeah, it's like it's are mixed with the other language here in the Philippines.
Then when this American came, English became the main language in schools. Definitely, that's true.
Until now, we're still using
Yes.
the English, like what we use now, we're using the English language that the American bought here in the Philippines. So, then came in the 1974 bilingual education policy, which made English and Filipino the main language of instruction. That policy lasted for decades, even today.
And until 2009, when the Department of Education launched a mother tongue-based multilingualism education, the MTB-MLE, they allowed schools to use mother tongue from kindergarten to grade 3.
So that was a big shift from English to they allow us to use the mother tongue. It helped kids to understand lesson better, especially those in rural and indigenous communities.
But do you encounter in your elementary days that there is a mother tongue subject?
I
Is
don't
there any different? Is there any advantages having mother tongue in your elementary days?
I think
or
I
not?
still had that time when we had our mother tongue. It was really, or I think it was on my younger sister since I'll pick them up. I'll be the one who will what they call that, pick them into their school. So when I read their what they call notebook, it's still they're using the mother tongue, and then when I asked them, "Oh, how's school?" So it was easy for them to. They will just because they just say they're using the Bisaya language. So, and then when I asked them if it is easy for them to understand, and they really said that it was really easy to understand because it was the Bisaya language. And then if I talk to them in English, they will say that I should speak the Bisaya since they don't have enough that knowledge.
That's the part of MTB MLE. Since some of the students or kids cannot speak in Bisaya when they learn first the foreign languages, right? There are some of the students cannot speak Bisaya, but it wasn't perfect. Many teachers were not trained to teach in the mother tongue, and materials in local languages were hard to find.
Still, it showed that multilingualism can make learning more inclusive. It's a work and in progress, but it's moved in the right direction.
So let's get into the main question. What impact does multilingualism have in the classrooms?
For one, it helps students understand faster when teachers explain concepts in students' first language. As what we said earlier, that it could be more effective when we try to use our mother tongue language, right? Like
Yeah.
before we translate to English, we should use first the our mother tongue to at least could help students better to understand our to our discussion for them. they could be less shy to, and it could be more giving, confident to ask more questions and participate in class.
Right. I've seen it in the classroom settings where students use or switch language and Filipino or mother tongue, and they share information naturally and connectively.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's the same with what he said. It's build confidence with the students because when we apply the English only, it feels like they harden themselves. It feels like they're scared of speaking in English. They're scared of making mistakes. They're scared that the grammar that they're using is wrong. So when teachers allowed them to use their other languages, students they are more active in class because they understand what the teachers taught.
Yes, like it also happened to me that I can construct more when I use my mother tongue. I can share more ideas or share more like real life situation. And it happened that nowadays they sometimes ignore it, but it is so useful for us in using
Yeah,
that.
and also in writing essay, right? Or we're going to write first in our mother tongue. At least we could make it faster than we should first the English language.
Even now here in our college, right, we're still more confident when we use our mother tongues. And sometimes we ask ourselves, pwede i-Bisaya, ma'am? So, because sometimes even though it's not about like not using the English language, but it's about how we deliver our thoughts because somehow we have limited vocabulary, so it was hard for us to really express our thoughts when in academic setting.
Yeah, and it's not about replacing English. It's about using all languages as a tool. Is a tools. DepEd curriculum even says that the kids is the first language house when learning another one, right? That's what we're sharing right now.
Yes.
And that's also a thing that is called the translanguaging. Students who or teachers who are using languages in just in multiple languages in just one discussion. It happens in the settings of Mindanao, where students and teachers are using Tagalog, English, or Cebuano for communication and better understanding in the classroom settings.
Yes, that somehow teacher Kim Dal. When he is speaking the language, he using the English language, and then somehow we don't understand. He used the Bisaya to explain what he had said. So, and translanguaging doesn't mean confusion. So, it means flexibility. It mirrors how Filipino talks in real life.
And it could help. It could be a very helpful for us, right? Multilingualism also improves classroom relationships. When teachers use a language familiar to students, they connect faster and they build trust. Of course, we could use Bisaya language. We could communicate faster and could build friendship in our classroom, or it can build trust in everyone.
Yes, as we observe also in our what do you call that community right now, many of the children are using the English language because many parents really taught their child to use the English language, and somehow it feels like it builds a barrier to the other children
That's true.
because it feels the
You
other
mean
children,
you mean
yeah.
like isolation?
Yeah, because the other children who speak, just for example, the other one is speaking the language English and then the other one Bisaya, and then if they communicate, it's hard for them to understand each other because what the what the ano is he saying? It doesn't make sense to the other children. So when we use the Bisaya and into the Bisaya also and the English, if we have multilingual, our child is multilingual, it builds a connection with other people, even to the people who doesn't really grow here in Mindanao, but they know to speak the Bisaya. So the child is multilingual. So it builds a connection towards the other children, to other people. So it's not about the language; it's about inclusion and confidence.
So without the multilingualism, the bonds and relationship of our students or our teachers will not be enhanced. They will not be, it will lead to misunderstanding or that's, for example, is an English student wants to try to talk with the a mother tongue or a mother tongue student, user student, which is also want to try to speak to student A, which is for example, student A is the English user. So they want to talk, but they cannot talk because the language they are using
It's different.
is different. It's only one.
So it's really important
So it's really important for them
to
to
be a multilingual.
multilingual in order for them to talk,
Yeah.
to avoid misunderstanding, to avoid thinking or overthinking that they are not friendly to they are not like friendly to be or they are avoided because they are intimidating, but
Yeah.
it's because of the use of because of the lack of using other languages or having or acquiring multiple languages.
Of course, multilingual classrooms comes with challenges too.
Yeah, definitely the biggest one is teacher preparation. Of course, we should the teachers prepared for what they could teach to students, especially if in the classroom we have a different speakers in they can use Bisaya, English, or other languages they can use. It could be difficult for teachers for not to them to prepare something that could provide to the students for them to to have a interaction to enhance the building relationships to everyone inside the classroom is to have a what we call this prosperous classroom that we have.
Just like what teacher Kim said, you cannot give what you do not have. If the teacher doesn't know to speak a multiple language, how can she or he teach the students? Or how can she or he communicate with his or her students?
Yes.
So it's one of the
Challenges.
challenges.
And it's sad because some students have great ideas, but they held back or they hold back because of the wrong languages they use. And it happens to me also because I sometimes have great ideas, but speaking fluent in English or full English hold me back from sharing my ideas. So it's need to have this kind of ability, having a multilingualism.
Like thinking, how do I deliver my speech using the English language? Oh my God, it's hard. So it feels like the knowledge you have is uh, the knowledge you have is high, but the way you use it or how you gonna convey it using the English language is hard because you have like what you call limited vocabulary. So it's sometimes
Yeah,
hard.
when you think the better answer, but you cannot speak
Yes.
clearly, that's a great challenges, especially to us as students. It's very hard. That's what I've learned when that's what I've learned. Um, you can speak basic English, but if you want a better answer, you should use yeah hard what we call this one.
High vocabulary Englishes.
Lalo jud siya.
Yeah, deep English.
Deep English for you to
High
have,
followed.
for you to have a better answers for your teachers. That's
Yes. And one of also of the challenges in classrooms is the attitude now. Many people thinks that if you speak the language English, you're smart, di ba? That mindset, what scholars call native speakerism, creates pressure to the students and the teachers. Because think about now, that's why many what you call many parents are really taught their child to speak the the language English because they think that if their child know the how to speak the language English, they think that their child is really smart because they think that English language is a basis of being smart. That's why. And then when it comes to the classroom, if someone really know how to speak the language, and then it creates a pressure with the other student. Oh my God, she really know how to speak the language. She speak the language well. So the other student might feel pressure like, oh my God, I really don't know how to go on. So it's somehow a challenge inside the classroom. If especially the teachers now, some teachers are corrected by their students. So sometimes it put pressure on the teacher. What if I got the wrong? What if I use wrong? What do you call that? What if I use a wrong term and the students may correct me? Oh, so it somehow puts
Because
pressure.
there are words that are same, but using it in the context is
Uh-uh.
different.
Yes.
That's true. Exactly, when schools enforce strict English policy only, that could be a problem
Yes.
to students who cannot really speak in English, speak English clearly. Like when we're going to give our ideas in front of class, it could be a challenges, especially when you cannot speak clearly in English. You should first use your mother tongue at least for you to have it to construct better answers for you to to answer deliver it to the class.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
That's why teachers need to challenge that bias because English is important, yes, but it's not the only language of learning.
In the Philippines.
Yes, and not everyone can speak the language English. That's why, and if we continue using the English only language, it supports bias to the native speaker because they grow up using the English language, so it somehow biased to the other who doesn't. They use the Filipino language when they grow up.
Yeah, same in the other Asian countries like in Thailand, Japan. They use their own language for them to learn better. That's why they gain more knowledge, especially in mathematics,
Yeah.
science, or other language, other subjects. They are in the high position with that thing. But for us, we're enforcing English only. That's
Yeah.
very a little bit
Sad.
side to see some students of us cannot, yeah, they could not speak English but low in comprehension.
Yeah, it's good to speak the language because it will have many uses, especially globalization. We can interact with other. Of course, the Philippines have many foreigners comes here just to, and it helps for our economy. But somehow, in the our core Pinoys, it's sad.
Yes, in your ideas, I can say that using our or having or giving importance to our mother tongue, we can make our country a better place
Yeah.
to live in and make our country progress. Just like the mentioned countries who are using their mother tongue,
Yeah.
and in that,
Now let's talk about inclusivity. How does multilingualism make education more inclusive?
I think when students hear their own language in class, they feel respected. It tells them that their backgrounds matter. Of course, when we're going to use our own language, it could be more for us to speak like we are in position that we could speak Bisaya. Of course, when the surrounding of us is more accurate in using that one. Of course, we feel that oh, I'm here in the exact place where I could communicate better. But of course, we should not only focus that one. We should be more inclusive. Where even we're only using English, we should be more friendly to other when they can use. We could teach them what's the real meaning of that. At least they could share what they thought, what their idea about what they could speak, especially some of students if cannot speak English, they could speak Chinese or
Yeah.
Japanese, like that. So it could be more effective if we foster inclusivity when we could share some ideas to others.
Yes, I do agree with that. Um, Inclusivity is something that is make the student feel belongingness. So with using those mother tongues and using their cultural background, their identity, um, their backgrounds or cultural backgrounds, we can let ourselves connect to them.
Yes.
And they said that in order for the teachers to connect with students, you need to use their um, heart um, the heart of their languages, or what's the
Yeah.
what do you call that? What's the heart of the languages, or languages that they use that comes from their heart.
Yes, and inclusion isn't only about access; it's about understanding. Diba? When everyone understands the lesson, no one gets left behind. Especially in our, just like for example, in our class, if just for example, everyone is included, they have the
If they're
access.
using just Christian, but their
Oh,
students are Muslim, they can feel excluded or
yeah,
isolated. So we must use
as
inclusivity.
understanding also, because
Yes.
if they didn't really understand, so what's the purpose of learning if your student doesn't
You're
really,
not, you're
yeah,
not implementing inclusivity.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the real goal of education to make learning accessible to everyone, not only to those fluent in English.
And it also helps students who come from marginalized or indigenous people, and using the local language, they give to them equal opportunity in education.
That's true.
So what are takeaway from this discussion?
For me, multilingualism isn't a barrier, but it's a bridge. It connects teachers and learners through understanding. And
Of course, teachers should be flexible with language use. The goal is clear communication, not perfect grammar. Of course, we should be more. There is no wrong answer. There is no wrong answer as long as we can communicate properly. Of course, correcting person is to make to make the better to make it more better the way
Make
how
them more
to
better.
make it more better.
Yeah.
That's the way how we're going to correct, but not to the point that we're going to correct them
to feel embarrassed,
Yeah, yeah.
but still you have to be safe.
So yeah, of course, as oh my God, we'll be English teachers soon.
Yeah.
So we need to value all languages our students bring. So language diversity makes education stronger, because
I agree with that.
just like for example, our soon we will encounter different students, and then they bring their different languages, and if that students, of course you're going to communicate with the student, and then sooner or like later you will also learn the language, because they will communicate with you, and that's really important for us teachers to know that uh, we should embrace a different languages here in the Philippines, because it somehow it brings our culture, especially when we say Bisaya. Oh, Bisaya, it's like stronger people. They have really what we call that?
These scavenger people,
Oh, brave people. Just
who are
so
poor people in the cave,
yeah.
poor people,
But they don't know
poor
Bisaya,
people
Bisaya, but they
layo
don't.
in Kabihasna.
You know, they have this song that Bisaya di bike, mahadlok ni mamatay. So it's really like somehow our language brings the culture that we have. So it's really important to embrace or to use that languages, because somehow really important. Though English is important because we will be English teachers, but we should not forget the language that we came from. So yeah, I hope that I hope I will add more. I hope the parents, many parents now, are really taught their children using the English language, even though it's good because it what do you call that, muhasa ang bata, like they will be enhance, develop their English speaking, which is they're not gonna, which is they be more confident in college or in high school.
Because mostly in the college
Using English.
related subjects.
But I hope they also not forget the language that they came from. Because now, even them are hard to talk to their children because they don't know how to use the language, the English, because that's why they let their child do anything because they don't know how to adjust their child. So I hope that many what do you call the parents are teach them child to be multilingual. So I hope the child would also forget the use of mother tongues.
And of course, us, we should learn more about this language for us to, if in the future, if we're
Yeah.
going to teach, at least we know how to navigate the students inside the classroom, what they could speak, what they could lack in something that we could provide, right? If students cannot speak clearly in the matter of English, at least we can provide something that it really helps them, like we're going to translate from one to another language, right? So it will be much better for us to learn more about this.
Yeah, English teachers should be flexible, so
Yes.
we should learn different language in the future.
We're language teachers.
Yes.
Even though we are a language teacher, we have to still preserve our mother tongue.
Mother tongue, yeah.
By localizing, contextualizing our lesson plans and our syllabus.
And so,
Dear teacher,
yeah, so encourage our future student to speak their language.
yes, also that.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for
listening, Voices of Many Tongues. And that's the end of our podcast.
Once again, I'm Mason.
I am Shane.
And I'm Isa.
Thank you for listening.